Welcome to FitChicks Chat, the podcast dedicated to fitness, nutrition, wellness, and mindset. For more information on FitChicks Academy and our upcoming fitness and nutrition expert certification, as well as our holistic nutrition weight loss coaching certifications, please visit fitchicksacademy.com. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to FitChicks Chat, the podcast dedicated to fitness, nutrition, and wellness. My name is Amanda Quinn. I'm one of the co-founders of FitChicks Academy, and I'm so happy to have you here today. Now, before we get into today's episode, we're talking about what we would do differently if I was going to be starting out a coaching fitness business. And, one of the things that they always say is hindsight is 2020, right? We can look back and we can see all of the things that we would have maybe done differently. And I think, you might be looking for like very tactical things that, I would have set up my business in a separate way, or I would have changed the logo or things like that. But I'm actually going to talk about things that were very personal, that it was like a reflection standpoint of what I would have done differently from a self-reflection standpoint and a journey of becoming a coach. And so that's really what I want to share with you today. Now, of course, before we dive into that, I just want to remind you, if you're thinking about becoming a coach, this episode will definitely help you fast track your success, avoid some common roadblocks that might come up internally. And of course, we have our Holistic Fitness Coach Week that is happening right now. It is literally live in like real time right now. If you haven't already grabbed your ticket, make sure you check out the show notes, grab your ticket so you can join us at Coach Week. This is an amazing week for anyone who's an aspiring coach, an up-and-coming coach who's looking to just understand holistic fitness, what makes it different, how to become a holistic fitness professional, and really how to set yourself up and set yourself apart from the rest. So I will talk a little bit more about that at the end of this episode as well, but check out the show notes for your link for your free ticket to Holistic Fitness Coach Week. Now, as I mentioned, today we are talking about what I would do differently if I was starting over. So if I was starting a fitness business, though, for those of you who are not familiar with Laura and myself and FitChicks Academy, when we started our company, we started it way back in 2008. And when we started, we were working full-time jobs. So just to give you the background, we were working full-time jobs. We were both working corporate. Laura was the international marketing manager for Hilton Hotels. I was the manager of sponsorship and advertising for the Toronto International Film Festival. And we were doing this at young ages, and we had great opportunities for growth and for moving up the corporate ladder, so to speak, and all of these opportunities ahead. But we both just felt so blah about it. Like we didn't feel inspired. We didn't feel lit up about what we were doing. We knew that this was not the path, but we didn't know at the time what was the path. And so if any of you can relate to that, it's kind of like this mixed feeling of like, yeah, this is okay. However, I know there's something more for me. I just don't really know exactly what it is. And so, long story short, at an outdoor fitness class in June of 2008, we were at this class and we were there and we were doing the workout. And we were doing crunches under the stars, right? And so there was Nelly Furtado's song playing in the background, and we were doing these crunches. And it was as if all the stars aligned at the same time, because Laura and I both looked at each other and we said, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what we should be doing. This is actually the thing that we know we've been called to do, is teach fitness. And we had no idea what we were going to do or how we were going to do it. We just knew that that was our calling, and that was the thing that like lit us up. That was the thing that really fired us up. And so we walked home from that fitness class that day, sat at our dining room table, and we said, okay, so what do we call ourselves? And that's actually the moment that FitChicks was born. We started our company with a boot camp program in September of 2008. We had 7 women sign up to that first class. We were super nervous. We didn't know what we were doing at all. And we were doing a lot of things that just, when I look back now, I would have done differently. And this is not one of the things I would have done differently, but I'm going to share this with you anyways because it's funny. Is one of the things that I definitely would have done differently is when we first started teaching fitness classes, Laura and I, we thought, because we're starting the business together as partners, we both have to be teaching it. And so when we were teaching the fitness classes together, we were teaching it almost like a wrestling tag team. Like if you've ever seen those where they like one person goes in the ring and then they tap out and then the other person goes in. And we were kind of doing it like that, where it'd be like she'd teach for 5 minutes, then I would teach, and then she would teach, then I would teach. And it was so weird. So I definitely don't recommend, although our clients seemed to really love it, we felt really awkward about it. So definitely something I would probably do differently. I would find a different way of structuring it. However, our classes blew up. We grew our camps. We grew them nationwide. We grew it from 7 women to a 7-figure business. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over a few years of just developing a system, a model that was something we could replicate over and over again. We could grow it and we can continue to build it. But so everything sounds amazing, right? And you're like, that sounds like an amazing journey. But there were things in the very beginning that I would have done differently if I was starting over. And again, these come from a self-reflection standpoint, looking at some of the things that were maybe holding us back from an internal standpoint to be able to show up with the confidence to be able to teach. And so the very first thing that I would have done differently is I would have started without hesitation. I would have really just trusted the process and trusted that everything was leading me down the right path. It's interesting, when I first started, before we even started teaching fitness classes, I actually took a yoga certification. And I took this yoga certification because I was just interested in basically just making my practice better and just giving myself a tool and education and skills to be able to just go more in depth and more aligned with my own beliefs and my own programs. And through that journey, though, I learned so much about teaching, about assisting, about adjustments, about helping people that now when I look back, I'm like, man, a lot of those things I ended up using in my classes without even knowing how this would work and how this would actually support me and how this would end up becoming a part of my actual coaching journey. So when I say I would start without hesitation and trust the process, what I mean by that is if you're someone right now who is thinking, well, I don't really know where, if I'm going to get certified, I don't really know where it's going to go. I don't know where the path is going to lead. You just have to trust the process. All paths will lead you to where you need to be. I truly believe that. And if I wouldn't have taken that yoga class, I don't know if I would have had the skills to be able to teach the way I taught, to be able to build sold out camps, to be able to build sold out classes, to be able to build the relationships in my classes that I had in the community and the engagement. Every single part of your journey shapes the part of who you are as a coach. And so that was one of the things that I definitely feel like I would have just started without hesitation. When as soon as I had that voice inside of me that is telling me this is the path to walk, I would walk the path. I would take that step. I would take that leap of faith, knowing that on the other side of it is all paths leading to the end result that I want that I might not even clearly know. When we started Fit Chicks, we actually had no idea what we were going to create from it. We just knew that we were creating a fitness program. It was something that we were excited about and we finally felt lit up about. And we felt like there was a passion behind it besides our day-to-day 9 to 5 jobs, which we didn't have that feeling. We knew that this was this thing that was so fulfilling and so like such a massive desire for our hearts that we're like, we just have to trust the process. So if you're here right now listening, just know if that voice inside of you is nudging you along a pathway, follow the path. At the end of the path, it'll eventually show up, but it usually comes in small pieces, especially in the beginning. It's almost like the way of getting you to see, like, okay, if I give you this small inclination, and if I give you this small idea, will you act upon it? And if you act upon it, then I'll give you the next step and the next step and the next step. And so it's almost the will of the world of like setting you up to be able to walk down the path that you're meant to be on. So definitely that is my first thing. I would start without hesitation. I would not ever second guess the process. I would just trust the process. And one of my mantras actually in my life is trust the process of life. And I say this to myself consistently over and over again. And so I think it really comes from this idea of just really starting without hesitation and trusting the process. So that is my number one thing. Now, my second thing that I would have really done when I thought about self-reflection, what I would do differently if I was starting over is I would learn to find my voice. Finding your voice as a health coach, as a leader, as a fitness coach is something that is so important. When we first started teaching classes, like I said, Laura and I taught in like this tandem class. And when we were teaching our classes, there was like such a weirdness because Laura was trying to emulate Jillian Michaels. For anyone who doesn't know who Jillian Michaels is, she was like a trainer on this show called The Biggest Loser. And she was like this really tough, hardcore trainer. And we used to love her classes and her programs. And so we were like, Laura was trying to emulate her and like being like really like hardcore and tough and like yelling. And then I was trying to emulate Laura emulating Jillian Michaels. Like it was so weird. And I was not being myself. I was just being someone I thought I was supposed to be as a coach. And so if you are listening and you're an aspiring coach right now, just know that whoever you are right now, the voice that you have, the message that you have, the vision that you have of how you want to coach, the different approach, that is exactly what someone in the world is looking for. I promise you that. You just need to find your confidence and your voice. You need to be able to step into this leadership role knowing that exactly who you are and where you are right now is exactly who and where you need to be to inspire others. And I promise you that that will happen. When we first broke off the classes, when we sold out the first one and then we started another location, I had my own location, Laura had hers, and I finally started finding my voice. I started recognizing that actually the way I like to teach is like pretty hardcore, pretty strict, but also kind of sarcastic, a little bit funny. And the beautiful thing that happened, the magic that happened, was as soon as I started stepping into who I was as a coach and my voice and being authentically me, I attracted all like-minded individuals, people that understood and got my humor and thought that my classes were amazing and they were really inspired by them and they really liked the same approach that I taught. So when you start stepping into who you are and you're not trying to emulate someone that you're not and you find your voice, you will attract your tribe, I promise you. And the other piece is too is finding your voice comes from confidence. It comes from a confidence, and confidence comes from practice. So one of the things, even in our fitness and nutrition expert certification, that we do is, that I think we do very differently and very well from other certifications, is that we have all of our coaches in our programs practice teaching in their communities. They practice online, they practice in person, they practice with their neighbors, their friends, their family members, but they get the practice in because once we've done things a few times and we've practiced it a few times, what happens is our confidence grows. No longer are you graduating holding a piece of paper and then someone wants to hire you and you're like, oh, I've never done this before. And then you start panicking. Instead, you actually have the confidence to be able to step into that leadership role because you've already went through those first paces of nerves and jitters and all of those things, and you've already found your voice. So definitely 100%, I would find my voice, I would find my confidence, I would practice what I was preaching over and over and over again until I was really truly felt strong in my voice and in my conviction to step into a leadership role. So that's the second thing I would do differently. And the third thing that I would definitely do differently if I was starting over as a fitness coach from scratch right now, just like brand new aspiring coach stepping into this idea, I would teach without fear, knowing that I'm the only person who knows what's next. Now, what I mean by that is so many times I think people get really nervous about the idea of what if I mess up? What if I'm teaching my class and I forget a cue? Or what if I'm teaching my class and I forget what's next? I forget the next exercise. I forget the next part of the workout. I forget whatever it is. And you start panicking and you're like, and that kind of holds you back. That fear of making a mistake holds you back enough to not even get started. Instead, the thing that I would do is I'd remind myself, like, whatever I've programmed for the program, for the classes, for the next exercise, for the timing of it, anything, I'm the only one who actually knows what's coming next. I'm the only one who knows what workout is next, what exercise is next, how long this is going to be for. I'm the only person because I am the leader. When you step into that leadership role, you have that kind of like autonomy to make decisions very quickly. And I remember in classes, I got to the point where I'd be like, oh, I think I said we'd do this for 30 seconds, but it's been about a minute. We'll just keep going for like another minute. It's cool. And my class would just laugh. And then they would be like, their legs would be burning or something, doing a wall sit or whatever it was. But it allowed for me to just be authentically myself, have my voice, but also really feel confident in this leadership role and understand that I could teach without fear. I could teach in a place that was just like everything felt fluid and it felt easy because I wasn't worried that, oh my gosh, the 20 people in my class are thinking, wait a second, aren't we supposed to do squats next? Because we were changing our workouts consistently. Every single class, we changed our workout. We taught something different. There was no way that my participants knew what was coming. I was the only one. So it allowed for me to teach without any kind of fear of somebody second guessing me as a leader. So those are definitely the things that if I was starting out right now as a fitness coach, those are the three things I would do differently. So again, it's start without hesitation and trust the process. The second thing is I would find my voice and I would find my confidence by practicing what I was preaching consistently and building up those leadership skills. And then the third thing is I would teach without fear. So I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that might be holding you back from becoming a coach? And if you were getting started right now, what's one thing that you would let go of? So, comment below, let us know. Email us, info@fitchicks.ca. Let us know. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, right now we have our Holistic Fitness Coach Week. It's happening, it's live. If you're an aspiring coach and you're like, I need to know how to become a holistic fitness coach, I need to know what a holistic fitness coach is, I need to know how I can stand out in this industry and really start shaping my future as a coach, you need to check it out. So check out in the show notes, you can grab your link there and you can get your free ticket now to join us. I look forward to seeing you inside of Holistic Fitness Coach Week. I thank you so much for listening to FitChicks Chat. And of course, the last thing I want to mention before we jump out of here is that our fitness and nutrition expert certification program is open for enrollment right now. If you are an aspiring coach or you're a coach who feels like you want to become a holistic fitness coach and get all of the tools to be able to offer group fitness, personal training, nutrition coaching, and wellness coaching, as well as build the business of your dreams, check it out at fitchicksacademy.com/F&E. That is where you can go to learn more about our certification. It starts on March 24th, and we look forward to seeing you inside. That's it for today. I will see you all again next week on Fit Chicks Chat. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Fit Chicks Chat podcast. Want more healthy love? Visit www.fitchicks.com for amazing resources, free workouts, recipes, tips, and so much more to help you live your healthiest and fiercest life, inside and out.